fighter, so you know more than the average casual fan. So who would you give the edge to?
Crawford.
Crawford? How did he do it? Did he knock out Canelo Alvarez?
I don't know. That's who I think. Yeah.
Right.
And then Crawford, come on, man, you can't bet against Crawford, man. Obviously, nobody has figured out how to beat that style. The man switches, he's athletic, and he got power in both hands. Nah, it's a different animal.
That's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy, too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fighting guys coming down from 200, probably, at light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on it because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills.
Boxing fans around the globe are buzzing over one of the most electrifying hypothetical matchups in modern boxing history. Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence "Bud" Crawford. Two legends in their prime, representing contrasting styles, legacies, and weight classes, squaring off in what could be the ultimate battle between raw power and refined skill. Canelo, the heavy-handed Mexican champion, has climbed multiple divisions and conquered names like GGG, Caleb Plant, and Sergey Kovalev. On the flip side, Crawford is the epitome of boxing IQ, undefeated, unfazed, and unorthodox, known for dismantling elite opponents with surgical precision and the ability to switch stances seamlessly mid-fight. But who holds the edge? The bulk and brute strength of Canelo, or the agility and adaptability of Crawford? Let's dive into what experts are saying, each perspective revealing unique insights about this dream matchup. We'll break it down across sections, each based on a quote, before analyzing what makes Crawford a nightmare opponent for someone like Canelo.
That fight and how?
Is the rising young undefeated southpaw.
I think it's too close to call.
Really?
Yeah. At least,
Tony Danza started it off by calling the fight too close to call. His response might sound vague at first, but it actually highlights a key point that many boxing purists recognize. This is not a typical size mismatch where one fighter dominates by default. It's a tactical matchup where both men bring something special. Danza's indecision captures the unpredictability of this fight and sets the tone for how evenly matched these two are in terms of skill, mindset, and impact. When someone like Danza, who spent decades around the sport, hesitates to choose, it shows how much respect both fighters command. It also reflects how even experts find it difficult to forecast the outcome due to the variables involved. Canelo's championship experience and punch resistance versus Crawford's speed, IQ, and shifting rhythm. The clash of styles is so sharp that even die-hard fans are split. While the odds may lean slightly toward the heavier fighter, Danza's reaction proves this fight isn't about size. It's about execution under pressure.
If you had to give somebody the edge, you are a fighter, so you know more than the average casual fan. So who would you give the edge to?
Crawford.
Crawford? How did he do it? Did he knock out Canelo Alvarez?
I don't know. That's who I think. Yeah.
Tony Danza does give us a glimpse into his gut instinct by eventually saying he'd pick Crawford. Although he admits he doesn't know exactly why or how, his intuitive lean toward Bud speaks volumes. This reflects how many insiders feel. Crawford just has that X factor, that intangible quality that makes him dangerous in ways you can't always explain through numbers or records. Danza is essentially saying that when you look at Crawford, there's something about his demeanor, calmness, and adaptability that makes you believe he could crack the Canelo code. This gut-level insight might not hold statistical weight, but boxing is as much mental and emotional as it is physical. Fighters like Crawford win because they make their opponents uncomfortable, not necessarily because they land more punches. Crawford doesn't just win fights, he figures fighters out. Danza may not be able to articulate the precise technical reason, but he senses what many others do. Crawford has the skills and presence to control this fight, despite Canelo's raw power.
Well, Bud beats him by TKO. Unpopular opinion, Bud by TKO. I think he get him out of there probably about the 10th, 11th. It's like a pepper him with punches. They're going to have to stop that because he's going to put his hands on him.
Jay Watts came in swinging with a bold prediction. Crawford wins by TKO, possibly around the 10th or 11th round. That's a confident take, and one that flies in the face of the typical narrative that Canelo's chin and toughness make him invincible at higher weights. What Watts is really pointing to is Crawford's volume, accuracy, and ability to make punches add up. He compares Bud's style to a pepper running with punches, and that's a perfect description of Crawford's game. He breaks fighters down slowly, then pounces when they're vulnerable. Watts' prediction of a TKO isn't about a one-punch knockout, it's about attrition. Crawford's speed and creativity frustrate opponents, and his ability to strike from multiple angles leaves them open to a late-fight breakdown. Canelo's been hit before, but has he faced a mover like Crawford who also has real power in both hands? According to Watts, Bud's relentless precision could be too much for Canelo to absorb over 12 rounds.
Get the stoppage.
I mean, but you seen when Canelo fights, who he had a problem with. He had a problem with people that move, people that's athletic. He had a problem with Laura, Mayweather. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say he had a problem with Skull, because that dude just ran around the ring the whole damn time. So
Jay Watts continues by pointing out a major flaw in Canelo's track record: his struggles against movers and athletic opponents. Names like Arislandi Lara and Floyd Mayweather immediately come to mind. These were fights where Canelo looked frustrated and less effective because he couldn't pin his opponents down. Watts mentions how fighters like Lara and Mayweather, who had speed and footwork, gave Canelo real problems, and this directly supports the argument that Crawford, being an even more versatile and unorthodox mover, could do the same. The point isn't that Canelo didn't improve after those fights, it's that a specific style still troubles him. Watts is building a case that Crawford represents the exact kind of fighter who doesn't fall into Canelo's traps, who doesn't give him a flat target, and who can make Canelo miss while landing clean shots. In matchups where movement trumps pressure, Crawford's playbook is tailor-made to exploit those weaknesses.
And then Crawford, come on, man, you can't bet against Crawford, man. Obviously, nobody has figured out how to beat that style. The man switches, he's athletic, and he got power in both hands. Nah, it's a different animal.
Expanding further, Watts insists that you can't catch Crawford. He's not exaggerating. Crawford has one of the most fluid, unpredictable styles in boxing today. He switches stances mid-combo, adjusts tempo like a jazz musician, and keeps his opponents guessing. According to Watts, that's what separates Crawford from everyone else. He's athletic, deceptive, and packs power in both hands. This makes him a nightmare for anyone trying to time him, especially someone like Canelo, who thrives on rhythm and counters. Canelo likes to read patterns, break down defenses, and go to the body. But when your opponent doesn't stand still and keeps reinventing his angles, even Canelo's brilliant ring IQ can be tested. Watts makes it clear Crawford isn't just slick, he's evasive, explosive, and multidimensional. This isn't a fighter you can figure out after 2 rounds. Against someone like Crawford, one mistake can cost the fight, and you might not even see the punch coming. That unpredictability gives Bud the edge.
Crawford strong, man. I mean, you know, you already know how strong he is. So I ain't gotta tell you, I think it's gonna be a great fight. I think he's gonna surprise a lot of people, and that's why I'm gonna put that TKO on that line. And watch me hit all that money.
Jay Watts drives his point home by praising Crawford's strength, saying he's going to surprise a lot of people. While the casual observer might think Crawford is too small for Canelo, those who followed his career know how physically imposing Bud actually is. Just ask Jeff Horn or Errol Spence Jr., guys who got outmuscled, outwilled, and overwhelmed. Watts' comment reminds us that Bud's strength is underrated because he doesn't rely on it like Canelo does. He's not a slugger, but he knows how to lean, press, clinch, and impose. The surprise Watts mentions could come from Crawford winning inside, bullying Canelo, or absorbing shots and giving back even harder ones. Crawford's internal fire, mixed with his technical polish, can wear down even the toughest fighters. His ability to build toward a strong finish means if Canelo fades even slightly, Bud will smell blood and close the show. This TKO prediction isn't fantasy. It's grounded in the reality of Crawford's silent power and precision.
Well, you gotta remember, it's the punches that you don't see to hurt you. So, whereas they may hit hard, I mean, like Bivol hit, you know, how he hits, and then you got Triple G, one of the hardest punchers in the game. But Bud is sneakier like that. He knows how to set his punches up better than those guys. He's a better boxer than those guys. So the punches you don't see are the ones that hurt you.
In boxing, it's not always the thunderous punches you see coming that change the fight. It's the silent assassins, the punches that slip under your radar that do the real damage. That's exactly what Jay Watts highlights when comparing Crawford's punch setup to that of heavy hitters like Bivol and Golovkin. Both of those fighters are known for their knockout power, no doubt, but Crawford's danger lies in deception. His shots come disguised, unpredictable, and precisely timed. It's this element of surprise that could tilt the bout in Crawford's favor. Canelo, for all his composure and granite chin, hasn't always dealt well with opponents who mix rhythm and punch setups unpredictably. Against Floyd Mayweather, a master of feints and precision, Canelo was outclassed. Now imagine someone with Mayweather's boxing IQ but with switch-hitting ability and finishing instincts like Crawford. Bud isn't just powerful, he's surgical. He lures you in, sets a trap, and before you know it, you're on the canvas wondering what hit you. This is why so many boxing analysts feel that even though Canelo might land harder punches, Crawford's smarter ones might do more damage over time.
He is. No, don't get it twisted. Canelo's nice, and especially after, you can see how much he changed even after the Mayweather fight. How much he learned from that fight and changed after that. But nah, I think this Bud is just. See, Bud got that mean streak, and he got that switch in him too, man. Like, I've seen it.
Watts acknowledges Canelo's evolution after his loss to Mayweather, how the Mexican star sharpened his defense, improved his footwork, and became a more patient, calculating counterpuncher. But here's the catch. While Canelo has evolved, Crawford innovates. Crawford doesn't just adapt from fight to fight. He adapts round by round. His switch-hitting capability is more than a flashy tactic. It's a psychological weapon. He disorients opponents, changing the angles and rhythm constantly. While Canelo has shown improvement, particularly in how he pressures fighters and breaks them down over rounds. He hasn't faced someone who can constantly change the game mid-fight like Crawford. And then there's that mean streak Watts mentions, a controlled aggression in Bud that turns into a storm when he smells blood. Canelo's opponents often wilt under pressure. Crawford, on the other hand, thrives in chaos. This blend of cold-bloodedness and tactical brilliance makes him arguably the most dangerous fighter Canelo will have faced since Mayweather.
It's like he's gonna figure out how to beat him, and he's gonna do it. I can't bet against Bud.
By the time Watts proclaims that Bud's gonna figure out how to beat him, it's clear he's not speaking hypothetically. He's speaking with conviction. This is a key moment in the ongoing expert consensus. When someone who understands the game inside and out says they can't bet against Bud, it underscores a recurring fear in Canelo's camp: unpredictability. Bud's not the guy who walks in with one game plan. He's the guy who brings 10 and creates 5 more on the fly. Whether it's feinting to draw counters, switching stance to shift tempo, or setting up traps 2 rounds in advance, Crawford's game is layered like a chess grandmaster's. This certainty from Watts reflects what many in boxing see as Crawford's X factor, not just skill or speed or power, but ring IQ. Canelo's physicality, experience, and patience might keep the fight competitive, but it's hard to match someone who's always 1 or 2 steps ahead mentally.
That's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fighting guys coming down from 200 probably, you know, at light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on that because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills.
Kelly Pavlik enters the conversation by stating what many observe but few emphasize. Canelo is not a naturally big super middleweight. Yes, he's had success at 168 and even 175. But physically, he's always been on the smaller end of those divisions. He's just that good and that strong. But even Pavlik points out the physical ceiling is real. Canelo may be built like a tank, but he's still a small tank compared to the giants he's fought. Crawford, on the other hand, is now walking around at a natural weight not too far off from Canelo's. He's bulked up smartly and carries his speed and explosiveness up the weight ladder, something few fighters can do without compromise. Pavlik's perspective matters because it reminds us size isn't always about muscle mass, it's about how you carry it. Crawford carries his size with fluidity, while Canelo, although powerful, can become stiff against agile movers. This is where the size conversation gets complicated.
Go off of that, but this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean with Canelo, but I'm not making that pick. Just saying, guys, so nobody come at me. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this one. Not worrying about anybody, you know, saying, "Hi, you're wrong," or talking shit.
Pavlik further acknowledges that despite being the slightly smaller man, Crawford's skill set levels the playing field and maybe even tilts it in his favor. His words, "Crawford is so talented, so much ability," echo what nearly every credible analyst has said. And he emphasizes something critical. Crawford's not that much smaller. In fact, he's almost the same size as Canelo now. So if both fighters are close in size, but one has superior agility, ring generalship, adaptability, and timing, then it becomes less about weight and more about style. This fight isn't a brawler versus a boxer. It's a tactician versus a counterpuncher, a master of fluidity versus a master of compact power. And historically, Canelo has struggled against fighters who can change mid-fight and never let him settle. Think Lara, Mayweather, or even Bivol to some extent. Crawford may be walking into the ring as the underdog on the scale, but on the strategy board, he's a grandmaster. Pavlik ends with a sentiment many fans and experts share. This is a fight to be enjoyed, not debated over with, haha, you're wrong, online energy. That very ambiguity, that razor-thin margin between victory and defeat is what makes this matchup so compelling. But even as he leans slightly toward Canelo, Pavlik avoids a firm pick. Why? Because even those who respect Canelo's power and experience know deep down, Crawford brings something different to the ring. A style that's uncrackable, a rhythm that's hard to time, a mind that adapts to every move the opponent makes. While Pavlik doesn't plant his flag on either side, the hesitation to go all in on Canelo speaks volumes. This isn't just a big guy versus little guy fight. This is one of the greatest thinkers in modern boxing stepping into the lion's den. And when you have someone like Crawford who wants to solve the unsolvable, you're in for a battle unlike any we've seen. Canelo Alvarez brings weight, experience, and a legacy that spans divisions. He's the bigger man, no doubt, and he's dealt with world-class opponents across every weight class he's fought in. But what Terrence "Bud" Crawford brings to the table can't be weighed on a scale. His timing, adaptability, stance switching, and punch setup make him one of the most difficult puzzles in the sport today. Historically, Canelo has struggled against mobile, athletic fighters with speed and style versatility, and Crawford might just be the most advanced version of that archetype yet. He doesn't just survive under pressure, he thrives in it. He's not just powerful, he's surgical, and he doesn't just game plan, he evolves in real time. Whether or not Crawford can handle the sheer physicality of Canelo remains the ultimate question. But if there's one fighter who can factor out brute force with pure skill and intelligence, it's Bud Crawford. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more breakdowns like this on boxing's biggest fights, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon right now. You're watching Box Eye Hub, where boxing lives.